what? It's the actual truth. You don't need a realtor to buy or sell a house. It definitely helps, and before any of my realtor friends start to sharpen their knives and get ready to hunt me down, just let me finish and keep watching through the rest of this video. My name is Mohammed. I'm a real estate investor and I'm a realtor based out of New York. I'm also the host of this YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. And before we go any further, guys, please go ahead and drop a like or a subscribe. YouTube keeps telling me that if I stop the video and ask you, then it really helps with the algorithm, and it seems to be doing its job. So thank you so much if you recently followed in the last couple of weeks. I really appreciate it. Now, this week's video is going to be more about why you don't actually need a realtor and a couple of the different ways that homeowners mainly can use other types of ways to sell their homes, or maybe even as a buyer, buy their home. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this, guys. Now, one of the first ways that a homeowner can potentially sell their home without having to pay a realtor or use any kind of a brokerage is through what we call an iBuyer, which are like internet buyers. You may have heard that term get tossed around, but you might even be more familiar with some of the companies and the brand names in the space. This includes the Zillow home buying program, as well as companies like OpenDoor, which are actually one of Zillow's biggest competitors. And the way they work is you submit an offer, or you submit your property details on their website. They review the property details, they review the amount of equity, all the information, they look at the market data through their, their algorithms or whatever they have, and then they give you an offer, and then you get to decide whether or not you want to accept that offer. Obviously, the advantages to the homeowner is that it's an all-cash offer. There's usually no contingencies attached. It's a very quick close, and there's literally no stress involved in the process. If you like what they offer, you review the contract with your attorney, and you're ready to go, you can sign whenever you're ready, and you're ready to move out. Now, a couple of the disadvantages involved with this is that iBuyer programs work very much similar to how investors work, in the sense that, one, they're going to give you an offer on the property that's all cash, but with that comes the fact that since they're paying in all cash, they're obviously going to want to leave a little bit of room in there for them to make a profit. Because the way the iBuyer program works is once they buy your house, they're going to immediately turn around and sell it for a higher markup, or they're going to buy the house, they're going to put a little bit of renovation into it, put a little bit of TLC and lipstick on it, and then turn around and sell the house later on. So there's pros and cons in every single process. The pros here for the homeowner is that it's a lot, it's a lot easier, it's stress-free. You don't have to pay a commission to a realtor, around 5 to 6% overall. And you don't have to worry about the hassles of putting a for sale sign, of everyone in the neighborhood knowing that you're selling and you're moving somewhere. But on the other side, you're not going to be getting as much money for the house if you built a lot of equity into it. You're not going to be able to incite any kind of a bidding war. There's a lot of marketing that goes into it when it comes to selling your house that you're going to be missing out on. So there's pros and cons to this situation overall. The second option when it comes to selling your house as a homeowner without using a realtor is a very popular term. It's called FSBO. What that stands for is for sale by owner, which I think every single realtor has had nightmares about. FSBOs are basically the homeowner deciding to sell their house by themselves. They might advertise it online, maybe on Craigslist, on Facebook, but effectively the homeowner is becoming their own agent. They're not paying any kind of commissions to anyone except the buyer, if the buyers come through a buyer's agent, as in if the buyer's agent has found the deal for their buyers, then the seller is usually inclined to pay around 2 to 3% to the buyer's agent. Now, the advantage here as a homeowner is you don't have to deal with a realtor, right? You don't have to pay 5 to 6% commission overall. There's also the added bonus that, hey, you get to control the entire process from start to finish. However, the disadvantages usually outweigh the advantages, because statistically speaking, most for sale by owner homes, sell statistically for a lower amount than if you were to have used a realtor. So you end up, maybe saving 15 or 20,000 in overall commission costs, but you end up losing like 50 or 60,000 in market value of the home. The other added disadvantage of doing a for sale by owner or taking control of the entire process is you're not really vetting the people that are coming through your house, because when you're using a realtor, the realtor understands that anyone and everyone can't just walk in through their listing. They have to either be vetted, they have to have a pre-approval, they have to have proof of funds, or they at least have to be working with another realtor so they know the people walking through their house aren't like cuckoo and there's no kind of a safety issue involved there. Right? Now, the third option that a homeowner can take if they don't want to list with a realtor is kind of a curveball, in the sense that they don't even have to sell the house, right? They could hypothetically just try renting it out to see whether or not they can make some money from it, or have the tenants offset their overall mortgage payment. Just because you want to, let's say, for example, get rid of a mortgage payment or a mortgage note, It doesn't necessarily mean you have to sell the house, because that would mean when you sell something, you'd have to go and buy another house. But if you're not in any kind of a desperate rush and you know you absolutely don't need to sell the house, then it might just make sense to either do some kind of a space sharing with the tenant if it's a single family, or if it's a multifamily, rent out more of the other empty units if you can. The fourth option when it comes to not having to use a realtor is selling directly to an investor, and this is very similar to an iBuyer program. However, it's a little bit more different in the sense that the investor that's going to be working locally usually wants a little bit more meat on the bones when it comes to turning a profit from the property. The advantages here for the homeowner is that for homes that are dilapidated or they haven't really put a lot of work into, investors are completely okay with that, because remember, at the end of the day, they want to be able to purchase properties, fix them up, and flip them later on, and they want to have enough room to have meat on the bones for them to profit from. So if your house is in a really bad condition, as long as it's standing, that's something that an investor can still work with. And if you find the investor, or if the investor finds you, you don't have to get a realtor involved at all, so you don't have to end up paying 5 to 6% in overall commissions for that transactions. The last way to sell your house without having to use a broker is kind of a non-starter, because it's actually you're using a broker. But what I mean by that is using a discount broker. And the way discount brokerages differ from actual full service brokerages is they just give it, they'll list your house at a discount. So instead of them charging around 5 to 6% overall commission, they'll charge maybe 2%, right? But with that comes the disadvantages of not having the full attention of your agent, not getting the full coverage or the marketing that your property would need to sell it at the best possible price, the agent not being able to show the property whenever you're available and the house is available. There's a lot of trade-off there. However, the overall benefit for the homeowner is that the cost of the commission is going to be significantly lower than if you were to use a full-fledged, full-service brokerage that does the marketing, that does the advertising, so you don't have to really worry about anything in that regard. With that, guys, if you made it this far into the video, I really appreciate it. Check out the blog in the description below, where I jump into a little bit more in detail on all these different topics. If you really enjoyed this, go ahead and drop a like or a subscribe, or maybe even a dislike. If you disliked it, it still helps the YouTube algorithm. With that, guys, I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. Bye-bye.